Hi, my name is Angelo Lopez. I'm a Filipino American editorial cartoonist based in the San Francisco Bay Area, and I have the pleasure today to speak to a great editorial cartoonist from the Philippines, Kartunista Zach. Now, Zach is a co founder of Pitik Bulag, a group of Filipino and Filipina political cartoonists whose work can be seen in the Philippine news site Rappler. And Zach is also a member of Cartooning for Peace and the Cartoon Movement. Today, we'll be talking about the latest political situation in the Philippines, as well as the latest activities of Pitik Bulag. So thank you for speaking to me from halfway around the world and stuff.
Yeah. Good morning from Philippines. I know it's evening there. And also congratulations for being admitted to Cartooning for Peace also.
Oh yeah, sure, sure.
Yeah.
Congratulations to you too. Yeah, and stuff. It sounds like you've been busy this past year and stuff. So okay. Here, let me start off with my first question for you. Um, how have the Trump tariffs affected the Philippines so far? And I guess more generally, how do you think a Trump presidency will affect the Philippines?
I think from what I'm seeing right now, in comparison to other countries here in Southeast Asia, I think Philippines as well as Singapore has also both of them have lower tariff increase compared to them.
Oh,
So it shows that how Philippines and US are really have strong ties to each other. That's why I think Trump spared the Philippines a little bit.
oh, okay.
I think on how Philippines. I think maybe we won't feel it for now, but I would anticipate that it will sting, down to ordinary people like us, probably in the coming months. Because I mean, I haven't seen the direct effect yet, but seeing that Philippines, really exports a lot to other countries like US, I
Yeah.
think this will affect a lot. This will affect tremendously,
Oh,
especially to this country. I think I can see it because Philippines, I think they are really more on import or export oriented country,
yeah.
and we don't have much, self-sustaining. industries here, like in agriculture, right? So I can see that this will affect eventually. And I think how Trump affected this country,
Yeah.
I think it's really hard to say for now. But I think probably it will affect on the side of probably example of W's or those who are, shall we say, TNT or tago ng tago,
Yeah.
or would they tag them as illegal
Oh, yeah.
immigrants? I can
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
there's some reports that they're being deported
Yeah.
to the country. But in a nutshell, for now, Trump presidency, there's no significant effect
Not yet.
really for
So,
now.
are
Yeah.
you kind of dreading it, I guess? Are you dreading, what might happen or
Yeah, I'm kind of dreading what's happening. I think yeah. There's another one effect is that it really affected on how some NGOs have been operating in this country. I
uh
think I'm also a member of different example journalism or fact checking circles,
yeah.
and we can say that there are some organizations that are being affected because of the suspension of US aid. Good thing actually you said about you raised about that. That's
Yeah.
why I was able to recall. Uh, yeah, and actually the effect was really bad. Example for some of our friends in Love Yourself.
Yeah.
They're focusing on reproductive health and also giving
Yeah.
options for sexually active couples or sexually active people. So
Yeah.
now that their funding being suspended by USAID, they're quite suspending or really slowing down their operations. And also as well as there's some NGOs who are actually like trying to save up or trying to squeeze whatever funds they're left because they're
Yeah.
usually supported by the US aid. So I think those are the things that I can see
Yeah. Are you expecting
affecting.
the poor to be hurt? Are you expecting the poor to be hurt? Oh, I'm sorry. Are you
Yeah,
expecting the poor to be hurt?
the poor.
Yeah, the poor, like the poor, those, the lower class, I guess. The poor.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's traditionally, it's the big businesses or like the marginalized
Oh,
sectors are rarely being heard, by those who are in government. So
yeah.
I
Okay.
think we don't expect something like that.
Oh, okay. I'm curious. I'm kind of wondering from somebody from another country, does the U.S. look crazy right now? Or
Yeah,
I'm just kind of curious.
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay. Yeah.
Because I think the reputation of US, before Trump, did some ridiculous measures is that, Trump, like US is being regarded as like it's like the global policeman or
Yeah.
like the one who leads the current world order.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of negative reactions, especially in the friends in Europe, European cartoonists, really draw some nasty portrayals of what Trump did. So, having cartoons as a barometer of public sentiment or public opinion, so you can see that um,
Yeah. Yeah.
he did a bad job.
Yeah. I always feel like I talked to some Canadian cartoonists and I felt this need to apologize for Trump. So when if the Philippines starts getting hurt for Trump, I want to apologize ahead of time and stuff. So yeah. So
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay, here, my next question. What are your thoughts on the recent arrest of former President Rodrigo Duterte by the International Criminal Court?
I feel like it I feel like the arrest of Duterte is like it's a sigh of relief
Yeah,
for the part of the victims, because I think they've been longing for this to happen.
yeah,
I think it's because they really needed ICC to act, because the current justice system isn't actually doing significant or really doing more, to take those perpetrators of the drug war
yeah,
accountable. I
yeah,
think if you see it on a justice perspective. But for those who supported Duterte, I feel like this is a breach of probably sovereignty.
yeah.
But what's really bad, or what's really um I'm really um appalled, is
Oh,
that
okay.
the sentiments that are being fed, are it's actually coming from a very big disinformation network.
Yeah,
So we can see that there's a lot of disinformation stemming in, that gives a narrative that Duterte was a victim of political persecution,
yeah,
that he wasn't given a due process,
yeah,
you know, and that's why this has caused, some of Duterte allied senatorial candidates to surge into rankings,
oh,
and
okay,
this has also caused, which is weird,
okay,
because Sara Duterte, which is the vice president and also the daughter of Rodrigo Duterte, her her ranking, or her approval rating, actually, like, it quite increased in some of opinion pollings.
yeah,
So probably the narratives that are being fed, by the disinformation networks, actually some of kind work. I think, just to add, um aside from those narratives, like it was a political move. Another narrative is that, they would try to frame it as, the addicts, or the drug lords or drug addicts will once more rule the Philippines, accusing Marcos more on being a drug addict, also, like
yeah,
testing it in Filipino um bangag,
yeah,
uh yeah.
yeah.
So
It's oh yeah. Go ahead,
mm,
go ahead.
yeah,
Yeah, is it mostly the work of the trolls and stuff? Duterte trolls. Or
I think it's more on working with, I think it's more of like driven by trolls,
yeah,
as well as the passionate voters of Duterte,
yeah,
coming from Duterte's home turf, which is in Davao.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Did his popularity rise, or when he left the presidency, did it rise? Did it? Because I remember, was it in the 70s and 80s and stuff when he was president, right? Did it lower, or is it still around the same 70-80% of Filipinos liking Duterte, or no?
I'm not really sure of that, but
Okay.
what I'm seeing in legitimate surveys is that actually Filipinos actually more than half of Filipinos actually want Duterte to be tried on the ICC.
Oh, okay. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good and stuff. Yeah.
But as far as his popularity is concerned, his popularity, especially in the Visayas and
Yeah.
also or in Mindanao,
Yeah.
where Duterte has historically win in the past two elections, or three elections rather,
Yeah.
or with Duterte allied senators.
Yeah.
I think that the support is still strong, you know. I
Okay.
think on the basis of regionalism. So they felt that Duterte was really representing the Visayas or Mindanao region, and then they perceived that, you know, Marcos is like protecting, the so-called Imperial Manila
Oh,
and the
okay.
northern part of the Philippines. So they look Duterte as like, the chief of, the one who really advanced the interests of Visayas and Mindanao
Oh,
voters. That's why his popularity is still there.
okay.
His popularity cannot be discounted. That's why you could see that even though Sara Duterte is facing impeachment
Yeah.
complaint in the Congress, you could still see that her endorsement of the local candidates of the election that will happen in a week,
Oh,
still
okay.
proves to be very effective.
Okay. Is part of that then, are people resentful of Manila, I guess, as a, um, as a, over dominating Philippine politics, I guess? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, there's a resentment because there's this popular narrative ever since 2016.
Oh,
They say that but it's actually there's some truth about that because if you go to Manila, that's where there's a lot of government projects, and those who are far from Manila have even there's an apparent lack of priority in terms of government projects,
okay.
and also social services.
Yeah. Do they feel like they're forgotten?
Yeah, they felt that they've forgotten, and they felt that when Duterte, sat into power, so they felt that okay, we felt like, oh, okay, we have someone who represents us.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Mhm.
That's cool. That's kind of similar to like Trump with some of his voters. They feel like he represents them and stuff. So, okay.
Probably, yeah, it's similar, like they feel like, those who live in rural areas in US, they feel like, we want to take the power back from those big cities.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
the big cities traditionally support Democrats,
Yeah. Okay.
uh,
Okay. Okay. Yeah. It sounds like you know American politics pretty well.
quite quite small, quite small. I
Oh,
don't like, because I don't live in America,
yeah, yeah. I'm curious. You sort of or point you're starting to reach into a subject that's my next question. With Duterte arrested, um, is Marcos is current President Marcos consolidating power? And I guess my the next part of my question, you mentioned a little bit about Sara Duterte and stuff. Is she still a strong candidate for 2020? Is it 2028 for the presidency?
I think regarding Marcos, based on the things that he's doing, I think he's really on his way to consolidating power, given that most of his senatorial candidates, which is Bagong Alianza in Tagalog, so far they're dominating the senator surveys.
Oh, okay.
So that would be an effective tool for him to, when the impeachment proceedings will start in June, which is next month actually,
Yeah,
that will be helpful for him to, to kick out or to remove Sara Duterte from the races. And we could see that in many cities, um, I don't know if I could say it well, but there's some local candidates who are apparently allied with Duterte are being slapped with suspensions,
Oh,
dismissal. I'm not sure though, but according to Duterte supporters, um they're
he's
being
eliminating his
persecuted.
political foes and stuff. Hey,
Yeah,
how
political
much is
foes
yeah, yeah,
in
how much of
favor
the
of.
oh no, I'm just wondering how much of that is propaganda and how much of that is true, I guess, because, it's hard to know what Duterte supporters are saying is true or not, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay.
I'm not really sure, I'm not really sure if, and that's if that is true, but traditionally, it's being, those laws, those suspension orders, they have been used in for political gain, not only during the present time, but it has been used in past administrations,
Uh,
I think with Marcos, Ferdinand Marcos Jr., I think there has been some rumors that probably the current Speaker of the House and also the cousin of Ferdinand Marcos Jr., who is Martin Romualdez,
yeah.
probably setting his sights on running as a president.
Oh,
So
okay.
I think those are developments that we're trying to see. And also with how about with the Sara Duterte as yeah, Sara Duterte, given her still big or sizable approval rating,
Yeah.
I think she has what it takes, to be a the next president, on the next election. But
Oh,
that would change if Sarah will be proven guilty
yeah.
on her impeachment trial, because by Philippine Constitution, if the impeached official will be proven guilty, given that the two-thirds of the Senate will vote for her or will vote for her dismissal, she will be removed from the office, and also she is perpetually disqualified, into
Yeah.
running again for public office.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm curious. A month or two ago, I haven't followed Philippine politics as much as I usually do because I was so focused on America because of Trump. But the last time I heard, she was threatening to behead Marcos, right? Did that have an effect on her popularity or?
Hmm. I think for that one, um okay, I'll just like say it in a perspective that you will also understand. I
Oh,
think
okay.
Duterte's, like his father, is really fond of saying, outrageous statements, like, like cursing the Pope, for example.
Yeah.
Uh s- she had a Sara Duterte also had a share of controversies, like punching a certain sheriff when she was still
Oh,
a
yeah.
mayor. So we
I
have
saw that
this.
video.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So they're really like showing this certain kind of
Yeah.
machismo rather.
Yeah.
So probably for her that's effective, showing that probably it's a stunt, a PR stunt,
Yeah.
right? A PR stunt to see that for people to see that Sarah is a stuff, as and also as level of machismo like
Yeah.
her father.
Yeah.
So it's trying to paint that one.
Oh, okay. 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 Yeah, when I heard that, I thought, but I guess you're right. Once you get used to hearing crazy things, it becomes normalized, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay. Yeah. Okay. I guess I don't know what else to ask, but here, my next question. Um, I haven't heard lately, but what's the latest news on China and the West Philippine Sea?
Yeah, yeah. I think the latest issue was that you know uh when Philippines said statements against China. I think it's more of like the same, you know.
Oh,
China issuing warnings and Philippines and the Philippine government saying that, you know, what China is doing is violating sovereignty of the Philippine territory.
yeah.
So I think it's more of like, you know, it's more of like the same.
Oh, okay.
The tension is still there.
Yeah.
Um, Probably I'm really not sure, you know,
Yeah.
when all of this will end, will ano. But you know, I think there's been a recent campaign, you know, in social media, not to vote for those senatorial candidates, who will who are quite relaxed or pro China. I
Oh,
think
okay.
apparently they're talking about, you know, these Filipinos are talking about those who are allied with the PDP Laban,
Yeah.
the party of President Duterte.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So it sounds like it's sort of in retreat. Does Trump change anything, or you just don't know yet?
No, I think I just don't know yet. You know,
Oh, okay. It's
I
still
feel you know, I think honestly I feel like the foreign policy of the U.S. in Philippines, you know, Philippines rather, would not technically change. You know,
um
whether Biden, Kamala, or
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 Trump.
Trump will.
Yeah.
I think it's more of like the same,
Okay.
and that's why even Trump, you know, despite his isolationist views, you know,
Yeah.
like you also want to get Canada, you also want to get the Greenland. I
Yeah.
feel like the policy, the foreign policy on the Philippines would still be the same
Yeah.
because I mean history. I mean, U.S. needs Philippines, you know, to still advance its interest, you know, across the Pacific.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-mm. And that
Okay.
would probably be history is the Philippines. I mean, the relationship between Philippines and the U.S. being stronger than ever
Yeah.
with a lot of military agreements. I think that that might be the cause, you know, why China is getting angrier at Philippines.
Because it gets closer to as the Philippines gets closer to America,
Mm-mm.
it shows a little bit of independence and stuff.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, okay. Do you worry about as the United States clashes more with China, do you worry about the Philippines getting stuck in the middle? Because the Philippines
yeah,
relies on both countries, right? And stuff.
definitely.
Yeah,
I think with you know, there's a lot of additional bases, military bases being placed in the Philippines.
yeah,
So and that's a really concerning development.
yeah,
We don't want the Philippines to serve as a battlefield
yeah,
in case that things or the conflict will really escalate, you know,
yeah,
especially in especially in Taiwan and also in Philippines, you know.
yeah, yeah. A couple of months ago, you and a few of the cartoonists from Cartooning for Peace had a talk,
Yeah,
and you guys had a talk in Rappler, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that must have been cool and stuff. Did you have a chance to talk to the Taiwanese cartoonist? I think Stelina Chen.
Mhm. Yeah, we had conversation with Stelina Chen, you know.
Oh,
She's
okay.
really a good cartoonist. And I think in terms of in Taiwan, you know,
Yeah,
you know, there's some people that are still torn, you know. People are torn between being independent and completely cutting off China.
yeah.
And there's like some people, especially they have a party list, they're a party named Kumintang, you know. That
What is
being,
that?
you know, we Kumintang, by the way.
Oh,
That we that Taiwan should still maintain friendly relations with China.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of clash going on. And I think what she also contributed to the exhibit that we had in Manila
Yeah.
and also in Cebu.
Yeah.
She drew about the disinformation campaign being carried out by China
Oh,
during the elections last year.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
they're trying to influence, the Taiwanese citizens or Taiwanese voters to vote for candidates who are lenient
Yeah.
or complicit, towards China.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It must have been, I mean, because Taiwan and the Philippines are so, their fates are so intertwined and stuff. I mean, do you guys, what happens in Taiwan affects the Philippines, right?
Yeah, quite. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
quite.
Okay.
In a
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. So you guys are looking at Taiwan very closely, right? Because it, does the Philippines have a military treaty with Taiwan? If Taiwan gets invaded, does the Philippines get involved?
I'm not really sure about that
Oh, okay, okay,
when it comes to that one.
okay. I'm not sure either and stuff, but I'm
But
just
even but even US has no I think in a way there's no military agreement with Taiwan
yeah, okay,
in a way
yeah,
because if they if they will have because there's a sort of ambiguity for that
mhm,
because China I mean US doesn't want to anger China.
yeah.
US yeah we are here in a tricky situation.
One, yeah. Hi, welcome back, Zach and stuff. And I guess I can start with my next question and stuff. When I look in face, when I notice you're the co-founder of Pitik Bulag, right? Um, what has Pitik Bulag been doing lately?
Yeah, I think we've been doing cartoon contest.
Hmm.
We collaborated with PLCPD.
Uh-huh.
It's an NGO that focuses on progressive policies like children's rights, the right to civil registration,
Yeah.
and most importantly, the anti-tobacco and also tobacco
Oh, yeah.
control measures. So we organized an online contest that focuses on having a tobacco-free generation.
Yeah.
I we just concluded the contest last April 29.
Oh, okay.
So the reception was really warm
Oh,
because we were able to have around 340 plus participants from all over the Philippines.
wow.
And yeah, it's really nice, considering that there's a lot of, cartoonists who especially young cartoonists, very interested to join our contest. And actually, we have a future collaboration with Dakila. So we're going to make editorial cartoons that focuses on the important issues that is relevant to the upcoming election, which has happened in a week from now.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm curious. You know, my next question is about this and stuff, but I'll ask it now and stuff. But why is it important to um, to nurture a new generation of editorial cartoonists for you?
I think it's a universal thing that the average age of political cartoonists in newspapers, whether you're here in the Philippines and abroad, it's over like 6 years old.
Oh,
I felt like I
okay.
felt like the editorial cartoon position is like it's a monarchy thing.
Yeah.
We have to wait for the current cartoonist to either abdicate
Yeah.
or or to have a natural death
Okay. Yeah, I know.
That's
You
like
know,
the
it's the same
two,
thing in America. It's the same thing in America. Most
yeah,
cartoonists are. I'm one of the younger cartoonists, but I'm 58. I'm not that
yeah.
young. You know?
That's still young, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So, and also we also see that the number of newspapers is declining,
yeah,
or newspapers are trying to cut the cost, and the first members of publication, to go out are the cartoonists, just
yeah,
to cut some cost, and also given how cartoons are much confrontational on the powers,
yeah,
they tend to be like, oh, let's remove this cartoonist,
yeah,
just to
yeah,
maintain, the business and political interests of the newspaper owners.
yeah,
I think it's really nice to nurture, young cartoonists in order to for the art of cartooning not to die.
yeah,
We need future cartoonists. So not only, but we accept that we cannot go back to the newspaper glory days anymore.
yeah,
So we're trying to make it relevant
yeah,
in the social media, in which that's where most of our young from the young generation really dwell. That's why
yeah,
we need to cultivate the next generation of editorial cartoonists.
yeah. You know, you know, in editorial cartoons, part of it also is that if there's, you know, at a time when authoritarianism is rising and stuff, cartoons is actually a pretty strong tool to fight against authoritarianism, right?
Yeah, in a way that it provides you a space to ridicule those people in power.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
especially with I can see, like, especially with the Trump. A lot of really good
Yeah.
cartoons about Trump, being ridiculed, or being like made fun of, or being mocked on the newspapers.
Yeah, yeah. Was it good for you guys because you guys are in Rappler and stuff? Is that a good avenue for you guys to get your stuff shown?
And
Oh,
aside from that,
yeah, because you know you have Pitik Bulag has a Rappler page, right?
mm,
It's a good way to get your stuff shown is through the Rappler. Is it the Lighthouse? I
yeah, it's
forgot
the
what.
like.
Yeah, yeah, and stuff.
So we
Has that
have
been?
a self-publishing platform right there.
Yeah, 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 yeah. You've been working pretty hard. You, I think Dennis and Byrne and stuff. Are you proud and stuff? Because you guys have grown a lot and stuff. I think when did Petit Bulag get formed? 2020,
That is 2019. Just
2019
a
and stuff?
few, just a few months before the pandemic happened.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Are you proud of what you've done? Because it seems like you guys have accomplished a lot.
yeah, yeah. We're happy. We're happy that we've been having some kind of recognition.
Yeah,
So last week we had our seminar. We had a seminar or workshop on having some anti-tobacco messaging. So
yeah,
it was organized by an NGO, which is nice. So
yeah.
it gives a lot of validation on what the Pitik Bulag has done throughout the years.
Yeah, yeah. And then I saw that, you know, I mentioned before about that talk with Rappler with the Cartooning for Peace cartoonists. Was it cool to be able to introduce those, you know, cartoonists from foreign countries to see how good the Philippine cartoonists are?
Yeah, I think yeah, it was really a good moment, because both the foreign cartoonists and the Filipino cartoonists were given an equal share of exposure.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think it's because cartooning for peace has really have a high regard for what Maria Ressa has done.
yeah,
So when we informed them that we're going to hold the event in Raptor, so the French organization Cartooning for Peace, they got so excited um to hold it, like the office of Maria Ressa.
yeah,
But it was such a bad timing because when the Rappler was there. Mayoressa was in the other countries.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. And we weren't able to ask, any speech because she was busy, even a virtual speech. She was really busy.
Yeah.
And it was really sad because I've been into Rapper office so many times, but I still haven't seen Mayoressa until now. So I think it's becoming an internal joke.
I'm kind of curious though. I was asking Steph this. Did you get to see the Nobel Prize?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Because I'm kind
Although
of. Is it
also
like a
we cannot go near Mayoressa's office.
Oh yeah. But you did get a chance to meet Pia Renata, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What was she like?
Yeah, she's a charming and also pretty sweet person.
Oh, okay, okay.
Because
Yeah.
I've been with her on some instances when I went to Leyte to speak about cartooning, and she was also the speaker. So
Oh.
we had some light conversation.
Uh-huh.
She's really good. I thank her for what she done, in journalism.
Yeah.
Um, I met her the first time in Rappler when
Yeah.
she came back from the US because she had her studies there,
Yeah.
and she was just appointed as head of community.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
I admire her. I actually admire the entire Rappler staff and stuff. I mean, I saw that video where she confronted Duterte and Duterte was insulting her, but she just stood her ground and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah, she's I guess she's charming and stuff, but she's also pretty tough and stuff. She's a real
yeah.
inspiration and stuff.
Mm.
But I wanted to let you know and stuff is that you guys in Pitik Bulag and stuff, you should be proud of that. You guys were making cartoons about Duterte when his power was at its strongest and stuff. And your courage inspired me because it helped prepare me for Trump. you know, because Duterte's craziness kind of prepared me for Trump's craziness in a way.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, but thank you for that and stuff. Your courage inspires me. I'm not always a courageous person, but I'm inspired by your guys' courage, all of you guys and stuff. So thank
Although
you.
in my part, thanks also, but still, we still feel like a bit of caution until now because given the culture of impunity and how some people get away from crimes that they do.
Yeah,
So we always have to be careful, even though the current administration is like a bit less harsh
yeah,
in the eyes of people. So we still hold the line and we're still being,
yeah,
not being too complacent or too relaxed.
yeah, yeah. I'm curious though. Um, how do I ask this question? Are you as worried about Marcos as you are about Duterte and stuff, or are you worried about him for different reasons and stuff? I mean, for me, I don't like either Duterte or Marcos. I don't like either one and stuff. But for you, is your worry about Duterte, Marcos a little different than you're worried about than about Duterte and stuff? Does my question make sense? Or
You mean like worried about as a cartoonist?
well, just as in terms of his because with Duterte, I was really worried about Philippine democracy. Are you still worried about Philippine democracy with Marcos?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I think we're still as worried, with Marcos as with Duterte's
Yeah,
because they do have different styles, but the level of threat to democracy is still there. I think the RSF released a the press freedom index, although the Philippines raised by about 9 points, given that there were still journalists being killed. So the level of worry is still there.
oh, okay,
We
okay.
don't have to, because the culture impunity, those who were killed during the time of Marcos's, the killings haven't been solved,
Yeah.
it still worries us. You know.
Yeah. And did they ever, I think 20, 10, 20 years ago, a group of 30 journalists got killed with a mayor, right? I forgot what that case was and stuff, but
Maguindanao massacre.
yeah, yeah, yeah. What
Yeah.
happened with that? Has the trial finished or?
I think from what I know so far, there's some people, especially the Ampatuan,
Yeah.
who were arrested. They got met with lifetime imprisonment, but there's still a lot of people who were involved in the massacre, still, at large, or they're still roaming around.
Uh,
So the victims felt that the justice hasn't been fully served yet.
okay.
And I think journalism watchdogs like the NUJP, the PCIJ, and and the CMFR, they felt that the current safeguards against for the journalist
Yeah.
hasn't been, it's still not enough yet, you know.
Okay.
That's aside from the fact that the journalists are not compensated that well,
Yeah.
and there's still a lot of layovers. I think you've already heard that the Inquirer decided to integrate the printing and the online operations. So
Uh,
that would probably mean that there will be a lot of people or hundreds of people's jobs will be affected. And it happened just a few days after the Labor Day and
yeah.
also during the World Press Freedom Day. So it's really sad thing to think,
Uh,
you know.
I'm laughing, but I'm laughing out of exasperation. I don't think it's
Mm.
funny, but
Yeah,
it's kind of ironic and stuff.
I
Yeah.
understand. I understand.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious. This is something that just popped in my mind and stuff. Tagle is one of the candidates for Pope, right? Yeah. Would if he becomes Pope and stuff, does that help the democracy in the Philippines?
I'm not really sure. I'm not really
Okay.
sure because if you see, how Pope Francis, I think will if Pope if Tagle will become Pope, I think we're seeing that it will be more of like Francis
Yeah. Okay.
because Pope Francis back on his home, he was he was a divisive figure,
Yeah.
just like half population who thinks that he's good, there's half population who doesn't have a positive opinion about him. And the reason why he wasn't able to visit his home country during his entirety as a pope
Yeah.
is because he doesn't want himself to be used as a political tool, because
From either
I think
side, right?
I think
Yeah.
Argentina and Philippines have similar political situations, and
Uh,
it doesn't help, that the current president of Argentina is crazy.
oh.
He doesn't want to visit there further. And
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think we're seeing the same here in Philippines with Tagle.
yeah,
If he becomes a pope, he's more of like a divisive figure.
yeah,
Given Tagle's stance against the extrajudicial killings,
yeah,
so we see that Duterte's supporters don't like Tagle, something like
yeah,
that. And there's a lot of people saying, "Oh, Tagle is good because of his progressive stances."
yeah,
I'm really not sure though if because of this he wants to visit this country again
yeah. Oh, okay.
in the future. But
Yeah.
I'm not really, really fond of
Yeah,
talking
no,
about
no.
it.
It's just a question that popped in my mind right now. I don't know the answer either and stuff. But you know what? This is just a side thing. 2 months ago, my dad told me I'm a distant relative of Tagle and my mom's side and stuff. But I've never met him and stuff. I didn't know this until 2 months ago. My dad was mentioning my mom passed away 3 years ago. But so we were talking about my mom, and my dad said, you're related to the to Tagle and stuff.
Oh,
I'm like a fourth or fifth cousin and stuff. So yeah, but if I go to Vatican, he probably won't know who I am. So it's no big deal.
mm.
Yeah. So okay, okay, skip that. That's not important to this discussion and stuff.
Mm.
But okay,
But I
next
think
question.
it's funny. It's funny because Tagless, it's being treated like a beauty pageant, like Filipinos are kind of rooting for him, but it doesn't. It's not the way the selection of Pope works.
Yeah, I know. It'd be cool though to have lumpia in the Vatican. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Next question and stuff. Okay, Uh, okay. You've been cartooning for a while now. What is the most rewarding thing for you about doing editorial cartoons? And how do you want your cartoons to help your readers?
I think achievements aside, I think what really helped me about cartoons is like I feel like I am at peace with myself.
Oh, okay.
When I draw, I think it's more of like it's like a playground for me. You have to play with a lot of symbols, play a lot, experiment with different elements a lot. I think that's the most rewarding thing about me.
Mm,
And given the fact that a lot of people have shorter attention span,
yeah,
given the advent of social media, and people don't read long forms like long articles from journalism websites. I think cartoons have really really good ability, to turn some long and boring articles into more digestible
yeah, yeah,
and too visual.
yeah,
Just to make the readers understand more about the issues that you're trying to tackle.
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like the process of making a cartoon is really rewarding for you.
Mhm. Yeah,
Okay.
it's more
Okay.
like a process.
Okay.
And I think it also adds, that you get to travel to different parts of the Philippines and also and
Oh,
abroad.
yeah, yeah.
This year I have around three future or sure thing travel. One is international and two is like different parts of the Philippines.
Oh, yeah,
Just
yeah.
to
Oh,
talk
that's cool.
about, what I do as a cartoonist.
Yeah. Has that been rewarding just to be able to be like a evangelist for cartoons?
Yeah, it's rewarding, especially when people come to me aside from taking pictures and they'll say, "Oh, thanks for what you do." It gives
Oh,
them it gives them assurance or gives them some encouragement,
yeah, yeah.
despite I mean, especially in me, I'm still below 30 years old, so gives them, courage,
Yeah. Oh, no, no, that's kind of cool and stuff. Are you in Pitik Bulag? Are you the youngest cartoonist?
Pitik Bulag, yeah, I'm the youngest one.
Oh, okay. Oh no, we're very proud of you and stuff for all you do and stuff. In the United States, there's one editorial cartoonist who's under 30, and we have high hopes for her because she's the only editorial cartoonist under 30 right now. So I'm hoping we're not putting too much pressure on her, but we have high hopes that she succeeds and stuff just because everybody else is over 50 and stuff, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, and stuff. Oh, okay. I'm kind of curious. From the cartoon contents that you've been to, are there any future talents that you'd want to that you want named and stuff? Is there any cartoonists that you see coming up?
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot. I won't name individually.
Oh, okay.
Uh, there's a lot of cartoonists like as young as 17 years old.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, the level of enthusiasm is really there.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's encouraging, it makes me continue to do more. I
Yeah.
think in the present, I'm in the process of like looking for talents, just to give them encouragement because once you publish the works, they're happy and they it motivates them to do more cartoons. That's why we have this what's so called weekly cartoons of the week.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
aside from the seasoned cartoonist or members of Pitik Bulag,
yeah.
anyone can publish. But no, I didn't publish anything for last week because
Well, you were
the
sick, right?
the contents or the submissions were pretty disappointing. There's no
Oh,
one who sent about the current events. Just say
yeah,
it's called Cartoons of the Week because it illustrates what happened during that week.
yeah. Okay,
Mhm.
okay. Yeah. I'm sure as the elections come, you get more ideas.
Yeah.
Okay. 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 Well, here's my last question for you and stuff. It's scary times right now. What gives you hope?
I think it's with people like you, people like other cartoonists, and also with organizations that gives us like the recognition to do our work.
Uh,
So in simpler words, I think the one who motivates me or makes me continue to do is number one, it's solidarity.
uh,
I think as a cartoonist, it's more of like an individual thing for many.
yeah.
Because like you're in a publication, there's a lot of writers, there's a lot of photojournalists, but there's only one cartoonist usually.
Yeah.
And it's more of like an isolated job thing.
Yeah.
But that's why exactly Pitik Bulag came into being because Pitik Bulag is like solidarity, helping each other in case someone gets attacked or
Yeah.
someone, yeah, it's more of like, it gives you it gives you a message that you're not alone, we
Yeah.
can we can do this together. And I
Yeah.
think that's the importance of having a collective action,
Yeah.
not only with the cartoonists, but also the journalists, the civil society organizations, and other cause-oriented organizations
Oh,
who
okay.
wants to give you help.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you for that and stuff. And thank you and the Pitik Bulag our cartoonists for being an inspiration for me and stuff because even though I've only been in the Philippines 1 month my entire life, I'm glad you accepted me for your group. You
It's
accepted
an
this
honor.
one
It's an honor.
was one lone American in this group of and stuff. But
But you put Philippines as your country in cartooning for peace.
oh, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm proud of my heritage. I'm very proud of my heritage and stuff. I'm just
Yeah.
I'm proud of being American, but I'm also proud of my Filipino-ness and stuff. It's a wonderful country and stuff. So okay, well, thank you and stuff. And you know, good luck next week is the elections.
Yeah.
Okay, good luck.
Monday.
Okay, good luck and stuff. I hope things
Thank
go well.
you.